Right. Okay, so we've got a whole lot of things going on. So we got maths, no maths. So what we're doing in this one is we looked earlier at this idea of what's the probability of doing maths today? What's the probability of not doing maths? So we're going to take that and we're going to add in, that's our starting point. And we're going to say, okay, let's make our scenario more interesting and say, what's the probability? You're going to write a test and we're going to know what's the probability that you do well, or you feel that you do well, whatever that means. So let's call it well. So if you study maths, then we're going to look at whether you do well in the test or you do not do well. Let's call that actually well and badly. So regardless of whether you study for maths or don't study for maths, you're going to write a test and you're going to feel like you've done well or you're going to feel like you're doing badly. And let's create some probabilities around it. So I'm going to give you some probabilities. If you study for maths, your probability of feeling like you're going to do well when you go into, maybe your confidence going into the test, we're going to say is 9 out of 10. But if you do not study for maths, your probability of feeling unconfident, of feeling like you're going to do badly is, let's make this one 3 out of 10. And that's the information you're given. So if you study for maths, you're going to go into the test feeling 9 out of 10 confident. But if you don't study for maths, you're going to go into that test feeling 3 out of 10 level of confidence. Probability is 3 out of 10 that you're going to do badly. And let's fill in the rest of the tree diagram and make sense of it. Let's work out one probability that we can work out before even filling in the rest of the tree diagram. Based on this, what's the probability that you studied for maths and that you therefore going to do well? What's the probability that you studied for maths and you're going to do well? Okay, so by this stage, I'm hoping we're building up our confidence in tree diagrams. Maybe what's the probability you've watched the previous videos and are confident in tree diagrams. But we're starting here. That's always our starting point. And we can go one of two ways. And we're saying, well, to work out these probabilities, to work out the probability that you've done maths, you must have taken this journey. So you've gotten 8 out of 10. And we were interested in the probability that you're going into the test feeling well. Okay, so the probability, we by now know that if you're going along and along, we multiply probabilities. So we're going to go 8 out of 10 times 9 out of 10 equals, well, 10 times 10 is 100. Of course, in tests, not the skills exam, which I guess you do as part of your main exam now, but in tests you do have your calculator, but these numbers are normally made that you don't need your calculator. 8 times 9 is 72. Where calculator I think can be handy is going 72 divided by 100, 18 over 25. You can give it in simplest form. So we've got this, either we could write this as 72%, that's quite nice, it's over 100, or we could write it as 18 over 25. One of these, always a decimal, 0.72. Let's actually jot that one down here, 0.72, hopefully fitting in there, not quite sure. No, wait, if I'm going right, do I need to go that way? Yeah, that way. So there somewhere, right? Okay, so there's the probability of doing maths and doing well, 72% because you've studied for maths. Okay, now let's fill in the rest of our tree diagram so we can find some more probabilities. What's the probability? Let's fill in these bits to say, if you've studied for maths, then you're either going to go in feeling confident, feeling like you're going to do well, or feeling like you're going to do badly. What can we write here as this bit that we're filling in? Well, hopefully you got the idea that it must be 1 out of 10, because if you studied for maths, if you're sitting at this junction here, you're either going to go in confident, feeling well, or you're going to go in feeling unconfident, feeling like you're going to do badly. So these two must add up to 1. 9 out of 10 plus 1 out of 10. Okay, at this point here, if you haven't studied for maths, you're still going to write the test. And going into that test, you're going to feel like you're going to do well, or you're going to feel like you're going to do badly. So if the probability of feeling like you're going to do bad is 3 out of 10, then this one, let's leave it out of 10, 7 out of 10, right? Because one of those must be true. So we've got 7 out of 10, 3 out of 10. Now we're going to look at a whole lot of probabilities, because our tree diagram's ready. We can go along any path. What's the probability then of, well, this is weird because I said that I was doing maths, but this is you doing maths now. What's the probability of not doing maths and feeling, this is interesting actually. So if you don't do maths, then you're kind of overconfident because you feel like 7 out of 10 that you're going to do well. So let's just pause actually. This is worthwhile analyzing. What is our tree diagram saying? The probability of you doing maths is 8 out of 10. So good thing. You're probably going to do maths, 8 out of 10. Probability of not doing maths is 2 out of 10. If you do maths, the probability of you feeling confident in doing well is 9 out of 10. But the probability of feeling badly is 1 out of 10 because you've done it, so you're feeling confident. If you don't do maths, the probability of you feeling like you're going to do well is disproportionately high. 7 out of 10 that you feel like, well, I'm going to do well. So let's see. What's the probability that you don't do maths, but you're going to feel like you're going to do well? Okay, so we're going to not do maths, but we're going to feel like we're going to do well. So we're going to go here along this branch, and we're going to go along this branch. So 2 out of 10 times 7 out of 10, 14 out of 100, which we'll have to simplify to 7 out of 50, or 14%, or 0.14. Whenever you've got a fraction, you need to simplify it. Percentages are nice because we can compare. So the probability of you feeling like you're going to not do maths and feel well is pretty low though. That's what's quite interesting. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that. Not going to overcomplicate this one like we did with the dice one, and just say, okay, probability of doing something, and the next probability might depend on this first one. So these are dependent events, because how well you feel you're going to do is dependent on whether you did maths or did not do maths. And the examples for Wednesday are going to revolve around picking out Smarties or something from a bag, and whether you return them or don't return them. And that's tree diagrams, going to be tree diagrams in a nutshell and done. And that's that.